Hello, my name is Charles Webster Baer, and I'm in Redmond, Oregon, USA. And today is November 18, 2025. And today I'm going to talk about the history of the universe. This universe. There may be other universes, but we're going to talk about this one. Our universe. Now, our universe may have always been around, but 15 billion years ago it was created, or it expanded to a size that the human mind can comprehend. And it kept expanding. This stuff. It's the same stuff. When it's cold, we call it matter. When it's hot, we call it energy. It's made up of atoms. Matter. The energy is made up of photons and subatomic particles. And it continued to expand. And form hydrogen atoms. And it continued to expand, and gravity formed hydrogen clouds, which then gravitationally collapsed on themselves to form stars, which then gravitationally got together to form galaxies. And the universe continued to expand, and it's expanding right now. In fact, the expansion is actually increasing in speed right now. So 5 billion years ago, the sun was created and the planets were created, and the earth was created. And 4 billion years ago, life was created, bacteria. And 2 or 3 billion years ago, plants were created. And then when plants started to eat each other, then animals were created. And fish were created. And life continued to evolve into reptiles and mammals. And evolution is when a random DNA change occurs and improves the species, changes the species into another species that's even better. And then monkeys were evolved, something evolved into monkeys, which then got big and turned into apes. And then apes evolved into humans. And humans occurred in South Africa, East Africa, 3 million years ago, and actually split the continent about 300,000 years ago and colonized the planet and created civilizations, which are language and politics and philosophy and science and money and agriculture and domesticating animals. And one of the around India was where a lot of this stuff started taking place first or best. And it 2,500 years ago, a guy named Buddha um, created philosophy. Now, philosophy is the study of what it means to be a human being, or what it means to exist, what the nature of existence, thought. That's philosophy, and Buddha created it. And what Buddha said was, if the universe does not exist, then you are the soul. And what he meant by that is that the universe probably exists. We assume it does, and that's good. But if it doesn't, well, then what are you? You're not part of the universe because it doesn't exist. So what are you? You're the soul. And what does that mean? Well, you'll probably find out eventually. Um, now, they were developing philosophy elsewhere, like in Greece around the same time. But in Greece, they were just beginning philosophy and everything else 2,500 years ago. In India, they actually completed it. So at the same time, 2,500 years ago, Western culture was being created and Indian culture was being completed. And the Chinese were sophisticated enough and intelligent enough to understand what Buddha said, and they created Buddhism. And, you know, in Europe or the Middle East, they misinterpreted it by using souls plural instead of soul singular, which makes all the difference. And many hijinks and shenanigans ensued and continue to ensue. But anyway, Greece laid down the foundation for Western civilization 2,500 years ago with democracy, freedom of speech, science, philosophy, mathematics, theater, culture. And the Romans basically took all that and turned it into an empire, which then conquered Europe. And so the Western civilization created in Greece moved all the way into Europe via the Roman Empire. And then the Roman Empire fell, and Europe was kind of left to, make it up as they went along, which they did. And they created the Industrial Revolution, which brought us technology, which brought us modern civilization. And there was the Renaissance. There was also colonialism and imperialism. And then America was created in 1776. And America said, everyone is free. Every person is free. Every person has the right to freedom of speech and democracy. Now, this was an idea that wasn't fully realized at the time, but the idea was that eventually people will evolve to a point where this can become true for everyone. It was the idea, and it was a good idea, and it was an idea that actually made sense and actually did work. And yeah. So then there was a Civil War, and then there was World War I and World War II. And after World War II in the 50s, because of nuclear weapons, people lived in peace, and that was good. And people started to think, now what? Now what? We've got technology. We're living in peace. What do we do now? And some people said, well, we've got an idea. Let's not kill the earth. And these people were called hippies, beatniks, commies, freaks. But anyway, that was where environmentalism was born, and it picked up momentum. And then it crescendoed in China in 1979 with the one child policy, one woman, one child. And this was called, I've decided to call this depopulationism. So depopulationism was created by China in 1979, and it said that you can only have one kid. And this was a big deal for many reasons. This was the beginning of depopulationism. Now, if the rest of the world said, oh, that's a great idea, we'll do that, then we'd be in a very good place right now. But because the rest of the world was too stupid and too evil and too crazy and too criminal and too greedy to accept this as the new way to go, we're in a very bad place right now. So when China created the one-child policy in 1979, what they were saying was to the rest of the human race, look, we all need to do this. We all need to save the planet. Killing the planet is wrong, and we need to not kill the planet by doing this one-child policy. That was the message, and that's what China was saying. And there are a lot of people outside of China who agreed and appreciated this, but not enough, apparently. Anyway, China did depopulationism for 38 years, all the way to 2016, and then they stopped. Okay, so the law is don't kill Earth. And we're breaking the law because we're criminals, and we're killing Earth with overpopulation. So we need to stop that. We need to obey the law. The law is don't kill Earth. The law is depopulationism, and we need to obey the law and not kill Earth. And we need to be depopulationist, all of us, everybody, now. Okay, now the definition of depopulationism is depopulationism means that it is illegal for a human being to reproduce a second time for the first few centuries of this millennium. Depopulationism is the religion of this millennium. If you're not a depopulationist, then you're on the wrong side. You're part of the problem, and you need to reevaluate your life and who you are and what you're doing. I learned about depopulationism when I was 16 years old in high school in 1985 in Newport, Rhode Island. And I immediately became a depopulationist, and I immediately realized that I was going to be all over this forever. And I was, and I still am. So, and in 40 years of doing this, I've gotten pretty good at it. In talking about depopulationism for 40 years, I've gotten pretty good at it. And I think I can do it now well, politely, calmly, positively, and thoroughly with a lot of details and specifics. So that's good. So if humans kill Earth and Earth dies, then we die with it. So hopefully humans don't kill Earth and we continue to exist. And if that happens, then we'll evolve into robots, and robots will evolve into something else. And in a billion years or whatever, the robots will colonize the universe. And, you know, they might keep us around as pets or something. I don't know. But that's the evolution of life. It goes from carbon based to silicon based to whatever. But we need to do our job now, which is depopulationism. The idea is to create a decline in the number of people on the planet until it reaches a sustainable level, which is maybe, I don't know, 2 billion or whatever. That's a number for future generations to determine. We just need to get it going in the right direction, which is down. Because we don't want to kill the planet, because then we die with it. And we don't want to threaten the planet, or because why would you do that? You want to play it safe. And, the more people we have, the standard of living goes down, the quality of air and water goes down, the availability of air and water goes down. It's just all downside. Why would we want the downside? We want the upside. But we've thrown that away, and that sucks. And, yeah, no bueno. So that's the history of the universe. And that's that. And the goal at this point for human beings is depopulationism. And the way to accomplish that is by electing depopulationists, voting for depopulationists, running for office as a depopulationist, and worldwide, and creating a depopulationist government and a depopulationist planet. And that's how you do that in freedom and democracy. And I created a world government, global internet government in Portland, Oregon in the year 2000 to do that. And we're working on that. But anybody can create a world government. The world government is basically the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. And if you just take those two things and put them together and simplify it, and throw in a social network and some voting stuff, then and make it completely transparent, then you're pretty much good. And as far as money is concerned, eventually one crypto will rise above all other cryptos, including Bitcoin, and that'll be the new currency. And that currency will be 100% transparent. Every unit of currency will be able to be tracked down online immediately, and so everybody knows where all the money's at, including the entire history of that every unit of currency, so everybody knows where the money's been. This will get rid of corruption and fraud and tax evasion, and so the money will be clean, it'll be transparent, it'll be clean, it'll be transparent. totally. That's the one important thing. The second important thing is that you want people to not lose faith in the monetary system. Hence, you want it to be fair, and by making it fair, you have a roof and a floor, and the roof is coming down and the floor is going up, and the roof is $1 billion American dollars, and the floor is you have enough money to eat food and drink water so you don't die. And the roof will come down, always coming down, and the floor is always coming up. And within 4 or 5 generations, they'll meet. And then we don't have to worry about money anymore. Okay? You can be a socialist in a free democracy. That's not a problem. Socialism and democracy and freedom all go together very nicely and very smoothly. I'm not a socialist. I'm a libertarian. I'm for less government, but I like socialists, and I dig what they're saying. I don't think it's correct, but that's okay. That's why we have elections. Speaking of elections, please vote for me for President of the United States in 2028 and 2032. And please vote for me for Deschutes County Commission on May 19th. Thank you. My name is Charles Webster Baer. I was born in 1969 in Santa Cruz, California. Original West Side represent. OG. And I went to high school in Newport, Rhode Island. I graduated college in 1994 on the big island of Hawaii in Hilo. And I went to New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And then I moved to Oregon in 1999, and I'm still here. And that's the history of the universe. It's, I've left a few things out, but hopefully, I think I touched on all the major events. Anyway, I don't have a lot left to say. Have a great day. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please make your own video so you can discuss these topics and these issues with other people and learn what you think about them. All right. Peace. Adios. Ciao.